Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Star Trek Discovery Season 4, Episode 3. I actually don't even know what the title of this episode is. I don't think they revealed it at the end of the intro. And, if they're not going to tell you what it is on screen, I am not going to look it up. I have to say, this episode actually wasn't that bad. It actually felt like a Star Trek episode for the most part. Like it's old Trek versus new Trek. Like it was a blend of both, kind of like that first episode. Um, it's weird. It's like the first episode was that way, like old and new mixed together. Then the second one was just kind of like new, and then the third one's back to being like a hybrid of both. So they need to make up their mind, man. But a lot of the stuff I've been complaining about in the last two episodes actually got a whole lot better in this episode. Stamets, he was actually like an okay character in this episode. His facial expressions weren't like all over the place. He was actually acting like a Star Trek actor and stuff like that. Adira was okay. Even Tilly. Oh, part of Tilly was okay. Tilly was kind of still the same way she was last episode. I'll get into that later. Michael's always Michael. Saru's always Saru. There was kind of no point really having Saru in this episode, other than like I guess like a moral compass type thing. Um, the Doctor was enjoyable again. Book really didn't have much to do in this episode, but even he had a nice storyline with the Vulcan people. Or what are their new names now? Navarre people, I think they're called. I'm not really. I can't remember. It's still new to me. This whole Vulcan Romulan thing. But for the most part, everybody was just like enjoyable. I will say, I was shocked and surprised I didn't see the bridge crew at all. And in fact, I don't even think I saw the bridge of the Discovery today in that episode. And also, what's weird? In these three episodes we've had, I haven't watched the fourth one yet, but in these three episodes we had, have you noticed that Discovery really hasn't done much of like anything? Like, have you noticed that? It's all been about book ship. Like, that's all we see. Like, we don't even really see the ship jumping around with the spore drive that much no more. And also, since they have dilithium and everything, why aren't they warping places and stuff? They're still just bouncing around using the spore drive, which I thought they was gonna try to cut out the show because legal reasons from that lawsuit they had, and like because fans didn't like it, so they said they were gonna try to use that less, but they've been using that a lot lately. But I have noticed, like this season, Discovery had the only thing Discovery did, they jumped one place, we saw that, and then they used that tether line thing with the programmable matter. And so, like, that's all you see of Discovery. You see the inside, of course, but you don't see the outside doing much of anything. And it's been all about book ship. Like, even when they went on an away mission, they still took book ship. At least I think that was book ship. I'm just like, don't they have shuttlecrafts of their own? I know they do. I don't get it. Like, was it because fans liked his ship so much in the third season? Like, hey, let's have it as much as we can in the fourth. But who knows? So, it basically starts off on this. I think it was. I don't even know if it was on another starship or it could have been a station or something. It was somewhere. It was somewhere with some Starfleet officers. Was that? And the next thing you know, they get hijacked by. Okay, this is. I forgot their name because they're still new in the franchise. They're those warrior ninja nuns from Romulus and everything from the Star Trek Picard show. The Dodge Malari, I think their name is. I'm not really sure. They go and they steal a bunch of dilithium. And their leader fights like the captain of that wherever they was at. She has a sword and then he has like something else pretending to be a sword and fighting her. Okay, first things first. This whole ninja nun thing, I don't like it. I don't like when it was introduced in the Picard series. Only because we've never heard of them before. Now, I will say this. when it comes to the Romulan people, I do want to know more about them because that's one of the Star Trek character villains that we don't know much about. We know they're former Vulcans. We know they have cranial ridges on their foreheads for some reason, or at least they used to. I think when the Picard series did the whole, okay, some Romulans have cranial ridges, some don't. That was dumb. Because the ones that don't look straight up Vulcan and everything. And they're supposed to look different from Vulcan. Their ancient ancestors were like, because they're ancient Vulcans basically, and they split off from Vulcan. They denounce logic. They don't have no telepathic abilities, and so somehow they grew cranial ridges and stuff through the evolution, and now they're just basically distant cousins and stuff like that. And so, like, to make them now look Vulcan is just so confusing now. And so, I've never liked the idea of ninja nuns. I want to know more about this civilization, but why have another secret organization that nobody's never heard of and stuff? And it's just weird because when you see Romulus, they're not peaceful people. So why they will have a religion, sure, but they just seem so peaceful and everything. But they're nuns who fight with swords and stuff. And what is up with all this sword fighting crap in Star Trek? Like, okay, yes, Sulu did it in like the original series, and Picard used to fence. And yeah, so they still have swords around. They still do that for fun and everything, but you don't really see civilizations and species fight with it because you got a phaser or a destructor and everything. And it's just like they have those little not really, not even bulletproof, what is it, like phaser proof vests that they wear in Star Trek now. And it's like, that's meant for like phasers, not like sword fighting and stuff. And so I just don't get what's up with all this sword fighting crap. It's like everything has to be action packed in Star Trek now, and it's dumb. So anyway, she straight up like kills him with the sword and everything. I think she said she didn't want to do it, or she feels sorry or some crap like that. But yet she still kills him. And so at Starfleet Command, they're reviewing this, and Burnham, she's upset because that was a Starfleet officer that was killed. So the Navarre people, they're all like, that's one of theirs. They'll prosecute their own and blah, blah, blah. So they compromise to where they'll go together and apprehend them. And of course, it's Burnham's mom, because why not, And you think this would be more of a bonding moment between her and her daughter because they don't really know each other. Because they've only really known each other for approximately like 2-3 days at the most. Like if you think about it, because she didn't really know them growing up because she thought they was killed. And then her mom kept bopping around time and everything. And then when she met her in the future, they don't really hang out. So they've only really hung out for the longest, like a full day's time, or maybe 2. You know what I'm saying? So you think, so I want to see more scenes with them. But when they did hang out, they was at conflict because the mom's all like, because Burnham literally wants to prosecute this woman and turn her in, and her mom's all like, no, peace this and peace that and stuff like that, And her mom, every time her mom talks, don't make no sense. I don't understand what the world this woman would be talking about. Like, she's trying to sound all philosophical and guru-like, but it's just going over my head, And so, like, and I know a lot of people don't like this actress who plays Burnham's mom. They say she's stiff and she has no expressions, but think about it. She's just like Burnham from season 1, episode 1. She's a human that's been hanging around Vulcans and Romulans pretty much her entire adult life. So she's trying to implement them, just like Burnham did. So I'm okay with that. In fact, she acts more Vulcan than the actual Vulcan leader lady. And so Burnham, she's in pursuit of that ninja nun lady with her mom. And so she tells Saru that she wants to take like a security team, but the Vulcan people won't like really allow that. Or the Navarre people won't really allow that and stuff. And they don't want phasers brought, which is just stupid. Now here's what's really interesting. So in this episode, we get a moment with Tilly and we get a moment with s4e3. And I do like when Tilly and s4e3 are around because, like, yeah, Tilly still acts like Tilly, but for the most part, she does act a bit more mature when she's around s4e3 for some reason. I guess because he made her the first, like, acting commander in the 3rd season or whatever. But, you know, every time they're around, they do have their silly moments. And so Tilly was being kind of like Tilly a little bit and everything. They were talking about like feeding like the plant. She wants to feed his plant. So I think he's done, I don't know what he was doing, but he was somewhere where he couldn't feed his plant. And so she wanted to do it. But then she talks about how she doesn't have much like training in combat and she wants more missions and that crap like that, you know. So, oh, now I remember. Also, this is a weird Tilly moment. So this is the part I don't like. She was talking about like she's trying new things and she hates macaroni and cheese, so she wants to eat it. And she hates it. But here's the thing, if she knows she hates macaroni and cheese, then that's not trying new things. That's just trying something you don't like. So that's that whole Tilly moment I'm talking about. Like it's just, she's just weird and stuff like that. Like Tilly is just a strange character, but she's there for comedic relief. And I just wish they would stop and make her mature because she's basically just a kid ensign. Like she's about like in her early 20s, and she's basically a cadet in my mind. You know what I'm saying? I don't see her as a lieutenant, and I don't see her as this person they're trying to build her up to be. Like I guess she's kind of like Burnham 2.0. Because when you go back to season 1 all the way to this season, she is literally Burnham 2.0. She's literally like the second, like most perfect character who should not succeed in all the things she does because she bumbles in everything she does. But yet somehow when she bumbles, she still ends up succeeding. And you'll find out later in this episode exactly what I'm talking about. And so like, when Burnham is talking to s4e3, he's all like, well, if you can't take your security team, you know, maybe you should take Tilly and everything. And Burnham straight up tells him, Tilly is the least experienced in combat. So why would I take her? And he's all like, well, she needs the training. So of course, Burnham takes her. That don't make no sense. You're going to take somebody who literally doesn't know what they're doing when it comes down to a fight. And you're going to fight because these ninja nuns are like no joke. You know what I'm saying? So they take Book's ship, which I don't understand why they took his ship. They had their own shuttlecrafts. Oh, why couldn't Discovery go? Discovery literally did nothing in this entire episode, so they could have took Discovery and everything. But I guess they didn't want to look like an invading force. So, like, they take his ship, they go down there, Burnham and her mom have some dialogue. They don't get along, of course, and stuff like that. So, now let me get to some stuff I actually do like. So they finally gave Gray like an android body. And so one thing I found weird is that like, okay, I don't understand how the ship made the body. It was like this little light and the light was grafting on parts of the body. And I'm just like, so I guess it's like a replicator or something like that. But you think they would have like, I know they would replicate the pieces. And I assume like the doctor would build it by hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of having the replicator doing the entire thing. But, you know, the replicator did. So, okay, like, okay, whatever. So then the body's there. And they get somebody from Trill to perform the ceremony. They're supposed to transfer, I don't know what it is. Is it brain pattern, spirit type stuff from Adira into Gray, android's body? Now, they still won't explain how Adira is able to see Gray and stuff. They just gloss on over that, which is kind of irritating. But, so the dude comes over, but he comes over via hologram. And I'm just like, wait a minute. So they're doing this, okay, well, we've seen this ritual before, kinda, in Deep Space Nine. But it's a physical person doing the transference stuff. So how is a hologram supposed to do it? And it doesn't look like one of those solid hologram things. So that don't make no sense whatsoever. Also, why couldn't Discovery just like, just like jump on over there to Trill? Because they had nothing to do this entire episode, so they could have literally went over there. But of course, they wanted to be flashy and with the special effects and show holograms all the time, so they did that. So he does that, and so Adira is upset. She's like, "Well, if it doesn't work," and da 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 da. And that was a touching moment because it's kind of like, what if it doesn't work? The dude's screwed. You know what I'm saying? So they performed that ritual, but here's the problem that bugged me. They did it off screen. Why not show that? Like that like this whole gray android body spirit going in his body thing, that's such a Star Trek moment. So why not show that? The idea is nice and everything, but it'd be nice to see that. And maybe the ritual has changed over a couple of centuries, So, but we don't know because they won't show it. So the transfer is complete, but he's not waking up. So Adira is like really, really, really upset about this. So the doctor's trying to console her. Now, I like this moment, the doctor's trying to console her. He's just straight up talking to her. It's none of this, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you like," oh, like the last two episodes, that's been kind of getting on my nerves, how they've been babying her and stuff. And so like, but this time he's actually straight up talking to her like an actual Starfleet officer, so that was nice. And they was in the little bar in Discovery, which Adira's a teenager and underage, so she shouldn't be in that little 10-4 type place, Now this was kind of weird about the bar thing. It was a nice scene, like the visuals of the bar, but why would there like fireplaces everywhere? Is it like holographic fire? I don't know. And then so like, if it's real fire, then how come the ship isn't like fire, like and sprinkle system come on and stuff like it would in any other case? Also, there's one thing I've been wondering about. The Trill guy who came over the hologram thing. Have you ever noticed that all the holograms in like the 32nd century always like glitch out? Like they're glitching constantly. And it's kind of like, why are they glitching? Like, is the 32nd century. This stuff was like during the Kirk era, which is not supposed to be holograms in that era. All that holographic stuff is great. It never glitches out. But now the 32nd century, it's always glitching and flitching and stuff. And I don't understand how. It is more advanced than what it used to be. I just don't get it. So it makes me wonder if the doctor from Voyager is still around. Is he gonna start glitching and everything? Like remember when Georgiou started blinking her eyes and the hologram like flickered out? Like that don't make no sense. Anyways, so like, the thing did work. And he's like ecstatic and happy and full of joy. And that was so great to see. He finally has his body back. And he's not just in the dearest mind, which they still don't explain. And so like, he's happy, he's excited, he's hugging everybody. It was just a joyful moment between those two. And the doctor as well. Now, one thing I'm confused about the doctor, this was the last episode, the second one. Why is he the counselor? He don't know the first thing about counseling nobody. He is a doctor. Those are two separate things. That was kind of like when they found Jet Reno and she kept her crew alive by doing all this medical engineer stuff, but yet she don't know the first thing about medical stuff. Why are they I hate when they do that crap in Star Trek. They've even done this in the past. Like when Voyager's doctor became the counselor. Now, I get why Voyager, it's an Intrepid class. It probably doesn't have a counselor. They're not there for long range missions. They didn't know they were getting stuck in the Delta Quadrant, so they probably left without a counselor. But I can at least buy that, the doctor knowing counseling stuff, because he is a database for the entire medical thing of Starfleet. So some counseling stuff would probably be in there as well. So just go, like, flow with it, you know what I'm saying? So I can buy that. But I can't buy a human who only studied in medical is now a counselor and stuff. That is lazy. Just hire somebody. You know, just hire somebody. They're not gonna be there in every episode. And so, like, speaking of, I was surprised. Like I said, the bridge crew wasn't there at all. So with Book and Stamets, they're on Navarre. No, is that what it's called, Navarre? I don't know. To try to figure out, like, you know, how this spatial anomaly thing worked, and like all this stuff, and so he's trying to work with the Vulcan and Romulan scientists, but he's getting frustrated because they do things very differently than that of humans, which is kind of cool. Because, you know, McCoys get like frustrated and stuff like that. And Book is trying to figure out, that's the reason why he's there. He interrupted their meeting at headquarters, and, you know, he wants to know, you know what I'm saying? And so him and the Vulcan lady, they have some nice touching stuff. She's trying to give him some solace and everything. She's trying to console him because he's just so angry and sad and confused. And she does like the Vulcan mind meld to figure out like how this, because he's the only person who saw it happen. So, because they couldn't get it from the data that they had and stuff. And like I said before, Stamets was enjoyable in this episode. He wasn't acting like he was in the last two episodes, like Kramer from Frasier and stuff. So I don't understand why they would write him to be like Kramer in the last two episodes, but then make him act the way he's always acted in this third episode. It's like, be consistent and stuff. Just have people be mature. Now, let's get to the actual ninja nun lady and Burnham stuff. So when they're down there on this, well, it looks like they're on a planet, but they're actually in like a ship type thing. It's the alien ship. And they realize, so the evil ninja lady, she comes back and she kills like one of like the other ninja ladies that's with Burnham's mom. So this lady has killed some major people. And it's kind of like, why? What is she doing this for? Why did she have the lithium? Well, we find out why. And it's actually a noble cause, just done all for their own, like, they just did it in an action-packed, let's kill people kind of way. She found this alien species that's really weird looking. They look like species 8472. And something happened where she rescued them a long time ago. Now she's in love with this alien species, thinks they're so great, and she wants to just save them. So she needs dilithium because that gravitational thing is could come towards them, and so that's why she stole the dilithium. Why didn't she just ask for it? I don't know. I don't get it. Starfleet is literally giving away dilithium. So she decides, okay, fine. If they're not going to give it to me, I'm going to take it by force. And she literally takes it by force by killing people. And so, like, just to protect this one species. Like I said, it's noble. It's a very Star Trek thing to do. They've done that in the past. There was a great episode with Worf and his brother, and he wanted to relocate these people, but that was done in a very better way, and the entire crew got to help out. And even when he turned on Worf, he didn't kill Worf, you know what I'm saying? So it's just that Star Trek, hey, let's be dark and gritty and let's kill people with swords. Speaking of swords, when they're on the shuttle book ship, the mom tells them like, yo, no weapons and stuff, no phasers. You're just gonna fight with a sword. Tilly is like, I've never even held a sword before. I don't know how to fight with a sword. And she drops it, being Tilly, because she's scared and nervous. But then when she's down on that like planet ship thing, and she gets attacked by the ninja people, somehow all of a sudden now she knows how to fight with a sword, and she's holding her own ground against these highly trained ninjas. Like, she's literally holding her ground Highlander style, until of course they knock her to the ground because she's not that great, you know what I'm saying? But then she gets back up and she's back to holding her ground. How? She literally doesn't even know how to hold a sword properly without dropping it. So how in a couple of seconds did she learn how to fight with one? And this is what I'm saying with Tilly. They're literally making her into Burnham 2.0 to where she's so perfect. She has her, but unlike Burnham, she has actual flaws. But she learns and she overcomes her flaw very quickly. I don't understand how. This is like that second season marathon thing. Like, hey, first let me just say this. Like I said before, the actress who plays her, I like her. You know what I'm saying? And I have no problem with her being big. I know a lot of Star Trek fans. We know those type, the fandom menace type people, and even not even so much the fandom menace type people, just rude people in general. Like people have been picking on this woman's appearance since like day one. There is nothing wrong with her. She's thick. She's beautiful. She's just like a gorgeous woman. You know, I like thick women. I love redheads. You know, there's nothing wrong with her, and yet people always want to make fun of the way she looks and stuff. But when it comes to that season 2 marathon episode, you have to be like logical about this. They had a dude who was muscular and slim, and somehow, even after getting distracted by this alien ghost thing, which took her out the race for several minutes. Somehow she's able to finish the race and outrun everybody, even the muscular dude. And the muscular dude never stopped. And it's kind of like, how did she win? Literally, because one, she's not in shape. She can't outrun those other two people. And she got distracted by the alien person. And she was distracted for a very long time. But yet, once she recovered, she just zipped around both of them. That's not possible. And that's the thing about Tilly. They make her into this invincible woman. No, this invincible like child woman. You know what I'm saying? And like I don't understand how, because she's not able to do all this stuff, then yet she is. And then so after the fight, the leader lady tells him why she's doing all this. And so Burnham at least get to save the day once. So when they're trying to figure out how to get to the top of the place, get the dilithium, Burnham's all like, hey, let's just use the turbo lift. And I'm just like, they all saw the turbo lift and nobody thought about that but her. Because she has to save the day. So, you know, Tilly does something with the something and she reactivates their ship. And so it's kind of like, okay, so in case that gravitational thing comes, they can get out the way because they're in stasis and everything. And the stasis unit was like broke. I think it was Burnham that reactivated this stasis unit and figured it out because of course, why not? Because she's the savior of Star Trek. She is literally perfect in everything. And it gets on my nerves. And Tilly literally tells her, you saved the day, Michael. And then Michael like, no, we did it and everything. So she wanted to take all the glory and piss the fans off. She still saved the day, so whatever. So then they take the evil ninja lady into custody and stuff. And there was a speech where Tilly was talking about when Burnham's mom couldn't get along. Tilly told her story about her parents, her mom, and how her mom was a really bad person. And it's like, dude, you're from Earth. People supposed to be perfect. But this is new Star Trek. Nobody's perfect. So anyway, except for Michael. So anyway. They head back to Starfleet Command, where Starfleet people decided, you know what, even though you killed the Starfleet officer, we're going to hand you over to the Navarre people. And so that pisses off Burnham, and rightfully so. I was pissed too. I'm like, dude, she killed the Starfleet officer. And y'all just like, we can't interfere, and it's their own people. Now, I do have some mixed feelings about that. That is kind of the Star Trek thing to do, when they hand their criminals over to their own authorities and stuff. But normally when they do something to a Starfleet officer or a ship, they get prosecuted by the Starfleet judicial system and stuff. So that should have happened here. But they're all like, no, we need Navarre to rejoin the Federation. And so we have to make them happy. And so Burnham's pissed. But then her and her mom hug it out and then they leave. Then towards the end, we get like Saru and we get Tilly and they're watering his weird plant. And that was actually a nice moment. See, that's weird about Tilly. When she first interacts with Saru in like the beginning of this episode, just like the second one, she's goofy Tilly. But then at the end, she's serious Starfleet officer. And it's just a weird contrast. It's like night and day with her. Then there was some part where Burnham and Book towards the end where they're laying down. And I just turned it off because I didn't want to hear them talk and stuff, and yeah. But all in all, like I said, it was actually an enjoyable Star Trek-ish type episode. It's not perfect, but it's not bad at the same time. It would have been nice to see the bridge crew, But of course, they had to get taken out because they had way too many guest stars and stuff. But yeah, like it was actually an enjoyable episode. Like it's weird. Like it's like I'm kind of enjoying this season for the most part because it actually starting to feel like Star Trek, even though they're still trying to be like New Trek and stuff. Alrighty, well I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.